Greetings sailors and welcome back to Warships, some live play with a ship that is definitely not in any way, shape or form topical. This is the Tirpitz, and I decided I'm going to play this today because basically I'm on the last leg of doing the Atlantico missions, and at the moment I am grinding the base XP for battleships, as you can see. This is, to be fair, this whole experience so far, I mean, I bought the bare minimum required. Most of them, and bear in mind this is with a premium account of course, but most of them have been pretty reasonable. I've not really had to grind particularly hard, apart from this last one where we have a bunch of these, you know, grind 42,000 base XP, and base XP requirements are always going to be grindy. So this one is I don't know how long this is going to take me. I mean, I've only got one of the 6, but I need all 3 of the last tokens. So yeah, these two, I mean, I'm just going to get these along the way, and that one I'm very close to getting, but I'm going to need to do one of these other base XP things unless I get lucky and get a Kraken in a game, which is a bit unpredictable. So I don't know, possibly destroyers. So yeah, I'm going to have to be doing some grinding to get this finished, but given that this is the very last stage and I've still got I think over a week to do it as of recording, I think I can do this without any difficulty. If it really comes down to it, because I definitely want the Atlantico, I will just buy a few doubloons and buy like the one token that I will need, the one stage. So yeah, so I don't miss out on that. But I'm pretty confident I can do it. As for why the Tirpitz, well, it's still my most played ship, and it is among my favourite ships in the game. Once upon a time I would have said it was definitely my favourite, but I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore. But it's still quite a comfortable ship to play, so I figured why not. The other ship I've been playing a lot is the Fuso, actually. I really do like the Fuso down at tier 6, mainly because of its range. I mean, it obviously has a nice spread of guns as well, but the range means that even in tier 8 games you're actually not at a disadvantage, although you do have to fire a lot more HE than AP against higher tier angle targets, because your AP, your 14-inch AP is really not going to do that much. The Tirpitz, though, the 15-inch guns are they're much more capable overall, and in this case we've actually lucked out and gotten a top tier game, but we've unlucked out because we have double CVs, even if one of the CVs beside is tier 6. But hey, at least there's no destroyers. We also have some tier 5s in this game through some failed divisions. So yeah, at least it's managed to match the failed divisions, I suppose. But I don't know why people take that risk. I would not want to be a tier 5 facing tier 8s. That's just no. That's never going to be a good time. Well, let's try turning south, maybe. This doesn't have particularly amazing AA, so oh, is anybody going south? Maybe not. I don't want to be on my own, basically. I mean, I can probably be okay versus the tier 6 CV, but yeah, I don't think I'm fancying my chances if that Shikaku comes after me over and over. Which is the real downside of being down tiered in the Fuso. When you are bottom tier, when there's carriers, the carriers will go, ooh, that doesn't have really any particularly effective AA for me to worry about. So, you know, they'll prioritise the lower tier things because they are easier to go for without risking nearly as much. That's a cat in the background, by the way. As if I needed to tell that to anybody. Generally speaking, if you hear weird noises in the background of my video, it's Sam. What are you meowing about, Sam? He's yowling. I don't know why he's yowling. I think he just wants out. He came in, he had some food, now he's decided he wants to go out again, even though it's beyond the point in the evening where I usually let him out. So he'll just have to suffer. Except it's really me that'll suffer. Ooh, nice, there we go. Good old citadel on that Ashitaka. Just angling away a bit now. I've learned from their mistakes, maybe. I do have, I don't know if you noted, but I do have Lutyens in this, so we may get some benefit from that. I don't know if I'll get the 140 main battery hits. We may get into a situation where we can do the secondary battery hits, but I don't have Lutyens set up as a secondary build commander. I do have my Tirpitz B with a secondary build commander, so if I'm feeling more brawly, I actually do take out the Tirpitz B instead. Well, I share that commander with a Scharnhorst B. But it's nice to be able to do that. That's one of the advantages of having the Black Friday ships. It's almost like an alternate configuration of the same ship. Which would be nice if you could do that with just, you know, your normal ships, but yeah. Which I think you kind of can now with World Attacks, but it requires you to have gotten to a certain point with the thingy upgrades, the unlocks for the ships, which obviously requires, you know, for the tanks rather, which requires eliting the tank, and then getting to a certain level with it. You can basically have kind of alternate equipment loadouts, which, you know, is much closer to, with the way they've done it with the kind of prestige equipment, whatever you want to call it, it's much closer to having some alternate captain skills. But yeah, I mean, it's not like equipment also doesn't have an effect in this game. You would kind of need both. You would need both alternate captain skills and alternate equipment loadouts to have the equivalent in Warships. We don't really have that same sort of prestige, but not really system. It's not really a prestige system because you're not resetting anything. You're just kind of adding sort of side grades, nice, to your ship, to your side. I keep saying ship. My brain is too used to ships. So yeah, I don't dislike what they do in World of Tanks with that, and it maybe be nice to have something like that in World of Warships, but I don't think we will see that for probably many a year to come, just because the thing that prompted that was World of Ships, World of Tanks, just kind of not running out exactly, but drastically slowing the pace of like new vehicles and new lines being added. It's pretty uncommon these days, so yeah, we're far from that stage. Well, I say far from that stage in Warships, actually. I don't know. There's probably a lot more hypothetical ship designs that Warships could add, but in terms of major navies, I mean, we'll probably have the majority of the things we're ever going to have. Right, we kind of need to get this cap. Everyone, I mean, I've kind of come up here with everyone else because there was no point hanging around the middle, but if we can get this, knock out people and try and get ourselves an advantage in terms of kind of firepower. But yeah, we have a big blob of ships back here that we kind of need to bring into the fray. Right, I'm about to get hit by the Chicago, which I don't like. Brandenburg off to the side there. Come on, guys. Like, this is a lot of really quite healthy ships. It's just basically me and the Amagi actually trying to do something. Go away with your show. I don't think I'm going to last too much longer here, actually. At least kill this cannon, but there we go.
Wir haben einen gegnerischen Kreuzer versenkt.
I'm certainly not going to get the freebie heals. I wouldn't think from Lutyens. It's much more applicable if you have a destroyer or something. Right, my fighter has shot down one thing. Okay, excellent. Good job, fighter. He's managed to shoot down just a single thing. I really can't turn here. Got some time for the Amagi, but what are these ships here doing? I don't know. Oh, if we could kill that lightning, that would be a boon for the team. Nice! Right, oh, his clubs are coming my way, but not that it mattered. Right, oh well, I guess we'll see how that went. That was sort of short but eventful. We still have a lot of very healthy ships that were just kind of hanging back and not doing that much. I mean, the Amagi pressed in. I couldn't really turn around without dying sooner. But, yeah, we had a big blob of ships and we could have pressed our advantage. Instead, the Venito's gotten away. Brandenburg's still very healthy, and I mean, I can understand the Bayern not wanting me at the front, but Bismarck and the Gneiser now are just kind of vaguely wandering down this direction. Z23 should be free to cap the middle now, though. We'll see what happens. But, you know, in a situation where you have two CVs coming for you, even with a fighter up, my fighter did almost nothing. I think I shot down one plane with my fighter, so, yeah. Oh well, we'll see how this goes. Well, this is messy as heck, but we are just about winning it. We had a couple of ships that were particularly reluctant to get stuck in, but they kind of did in the end. This guy and the Gneiser now down here. There's still the carriers to take care of, and that's going to be particularly unpleasant. And an Edinburgh as well, who's right around that corner. So hopefully the Amagi is aware that the Edinburgh does in fact have torpedoes, because that could be quite unpleasant. We should win this. We should. Both of our carriers are still in play also. It's just trying to deal with the barrage of CV attacks is not going to be nice. I suspect the Z23 won't survive unless they take out the Edinburgh, because the Z23 is going to be a prime target. Yeah, there we go. Well, that answers that question. No. But Shikaku has been spotted, so that's definitely the bigger threat. But yeah, it's always horrid in the situation where you are the closest thing, and so the carriers suddenly all get very, very interested in you all at once. I do not envy this Amagi right now, but the Duke of York's also pulling into range. So yeah, hopefully we can finish this off fairly soon. This is almost done, as you can see. There we go. Last shot into Ryujo. I'm sure that Amagi was very glad that that was over. And that is the win. But as I say, that was a very messy game. I mean, I'm recording this on a Saturday, so, you know, weekend games, blah, blah, blah. But still, it's always a bit frustrating when you have that situation of having a whole bunch of ships in an area and you think, okay, this is a really good place where we're outnumbering the enemy here. We can push forwards a bit. We don't really have to worry about crossfire, which we didn't. And instead, everyone just kind of scatters or hides, apart from yeah, so that Gneiser now quite far down the list. I mean, almost everyone was over 1,000 base XP, so, you know, okay, but when you're doing worse than a Bayern in that situation and you're one of the surviving ships, that's not so good. The Duke of York at least was doing damage from their position behind islands, and I was actually second, but yeah, that Amagi took a hell of a battering, so we'll give them a compliment. Because, you know, they were one of the few that was actively trying to play the cap as well, and not just kind of buggering off at annoying moments. So, that was nearly 2,000 base XP more, so let's do one more. I have also been playing some games of the current scenario as well, because the scenarios do count for the base XP missions, but they don't count towards some of the other missions. Something that is a bit annoying, I have to say. There's a lot of things that you can try and purely do in co-op, although co-op is pretty bad for doing any kind of base XP mission. Scenarios are better, but it would be nice if you could cover all missions in scenarios, because it's not like they are insanely better at doing really anything than random games. Random games are still usually the best way to get XP credits, whatever. With scenarios, it's more about the I guess for things like making cash, it's more like the reliability of whether you're going to win, which is always, of course, the big question mark in a random game. So yeah, unfortunately, this is rather worse. We not only have a CV, but we have double submarines. This is actually going to be, if anything, far more unpleasant than the last one. I mean, it might end up being fun. At least it's a domination game and not a standard game to boot. We've actually kind of gotten a bit lucky there. I had a run of 3 or 4 standard games in a row when I was playing yesterday, at which point I just kind of had to stop playing because it gets pretty frustrating when you just get the same mode over and over again, and it's not a fun mode to play. But yeah, my almost every experience with a CV and double sub game so far has just been, I want to go back to port now, please, in very short order. And I don't know that I will confidently predict this being any different. I guess that was a spotting run. I don't know. Someday they may indeed make the interaction between the player and enemy planes actually feel meaningful, not just feel like a rather powerless interaction on the side of the person who's got planes coming towards them. But yeah. The only real thing you can do is blob up and hope that's sufficient deterrent. Or that the carrier player isn't very good at preserving their planes. Because sometimes you'll get to the late game and they've at best got partial squads. It's a kind of a blind shot. Who are you going for? The Iowa, I guess? Right, the news Tsurushimis are both here. Yeah, I guess he is going for the Iowa. Also, I did actually manage to land some shots, but it's not that easy to see when you're just aiming via the mini-map. Trying to judge the lead. Right, Yugumo, that was a little... I mean, yeah, the New Shishimi is extremely stealthy. It's like one of the stealthiest Soviet destroyers. I mean, there might be some of the very lower tier ones that have better surface detection, but we don't typically, you know, we're not sort of typically thinking of them when we talk about, yeah. So yeah, trying to spot, like, these guys are divisions. Trying to spot a division is of that nature is always going to be a risky business. Alright, that Yamato's taking a lot of fire. Well, Midway appears to be going for them, and they're not really near anyone except the new Tsurushimis, which are not known for having spectacularly good AA or anything like that, so yes. It's a bit unfortunate for them. I do not have that captain skill that I can never remember the name of. That tells you, you know, people are aiming at you or not, so Given I have that on most of my ships, and it's a bit of a, you know, it can be a bit of a crutch, but for someone like me that can have a harder time paying attention to, you know, all the stuff that might potentially be going on around. Yeah, I mean, if you can get away without it, then absolutely more power to you, but I cannot exactly, you know, I am very firmly non-neurotypical, we'll put it that way, so, you know, it's one of those things where having it as a captain skill available is incredibly useful to someone like me. That was a straddle, but that was close. We actually, where have we lost already? Haruka Mount Hindenburg.
Feindliches U-Boot gesichtet.
Looks like they are. Yeah, that ship's not going to, like, they've killed the Salem, but that U-2501 is not going to last too much longer there. They're going to have all of the depth charge planes dropping on them at once, although they'll probably take a surprisingly long time to kill because the damage saturation on submarines is just kind of stupid at the moment. Right, yeah, we do have to watch out for new Tsushima talks, but they're not particularly long range. They're only, what, 10 kilometers, something like that? They're good enough, more than good enough considering their stealth, but yeah. We kind of need to do something here. I'm reluctant to take the charge, given that I'm not secondary spec, but the fact that we have me, Iowa, the Colombo, the Cleveland there, all kind of here. Where are you going, Kutuzov? Right, the Yami is down. U-190... What was it, the U-190 versus the 2501, or... Oh, it doesn't matter, both of our subs are dead. Both of their subs are dead, so this wasn't going to be a game where they... You know what, I'm not going to complain. But, yeah, not going to be a game where subs are particularly important, as it turns out. So that just leaves the midway! Yay! But this is definitely too many battleships in one spot to really be a good idea to be going on with. Might have to squeak a shot in there, although I think that Kutuzov's just about dead. Oh! Okay, well, I managed to get the kill secure. Right, let's just shoot me there. Sean Bar, Bismarck's lower health, I suppose. Z-52. Which we probably do need to prioritise. Our destroyers are not in good shape. Our Cleveland's about to go as well. Is where secondary spec would come in useful, but of course that's always at the expense of something. Margie's still alive somehow, but probably not for too much longer. It's one of the annoying things of being bottom tier in a situation like this, is it does kind of limit how much you can push, how aggressive you can be. I am not having good feelings about this generally. Let go. Of course, it's got good armor. Yustashima's down there as well. He's focused on the Iowa at the moment. Why is my secondary range? It's like 9 point something, 8.4. It's not that good. Right, if if I were the Midway, I think I would be going for the Atlantico. See if we can get them interested. There's also a destroyer in that cap as well. No, not interested. He's trying to go for the New Tsushima. Oh, well, I mean, guess. I'd say the Atlantico is closer and the more immediate thing that needs to be taken care of. Why did I control click there? I don't know. Force of habit. So a Z52 around for me to worry about, so that's fun. Torps out here. He's turning in. This is awkward. It's like, who do I want to expose more broadside here to? Well, good opportunity to farm some damage, because Lord knows I've not done that much so far. Oh, come on. This is why I was really hoping the carrier would take out the Atlantico that's on the flank, but no. No, this was a far worse game, damage-wise. Yeah, we just... I don't know. I think we kind of lost this one early on. We had too many ships over here that weren't doing much, including me. Like, if we'd had to push down here and the carrier had been trying to spot these guys up till that point, we might have maybe had a push, but by that point they were already pushing through our not particularly strong forces here, and that's that. And New Tsushima Div is always going to be, you know, if they're working together well and are not particularly molested by a CV up until a point where it doesn't really matter that much anymore. And, yeah. So, yeah, Z52 had 5 kills. So, I didn't think this would be fun. It was mainly more not fun for being down-tiered than anything else, but, yeah, oh well. But given that this was relatively quick, I think I actually do one more. One other thing that I did notice is, yeah, they had 5 players in divisions as opposed to our 2. So, yeah, that definitely stacks things a bit in their favour. I mean, that might not necessarily be a decisive factor rather, but yeah, I mean, 5 versus 2 is a lot larger percentage of the enemy team that were able to, you know, coordinate with each other and actually be effective, whereas our 2, you know, one of them was the CV, so yeah. Anyway, let's do one more. I kind of feel like the matchmaking was against me as a tier 8 in that one a bit, being on the team with only the one division. I don't know why it does that. It is supposed to match divisions, but sometimes it doesn't, and you get those particularly unbalanced situations, which is kind of annoying, but there's not much you can do about it as a player. Hooray! So, once again, domination. Not top tier, but it's tier 9. I can definitely live with that, but the reason I'm hooraying is that there's no CVs and there's no submarines. And it's only taken me nearly 40 minutes of playing. Anyway, it's actually even managed to balance divisions this time as well. We have 4 players per team. Their Torigo division might be one to watch out for. The Torigo's torps aren't particularly damaging, but if they are sticking and playing together and putting them out against the same targets, then obviously that's going to be something more to watch out for. And if you have any kind of destroyer division versus non dived destroyers, then yeah, they're much more likely to be able to gang up on any individual destroyer, especially with the extremely effective SAP shells that the Tirpitz has. So we'll have to try and give our destroyers the best cover that we can, and hope that it's enough, I guess. I'd almost be tempted just to push straight in, but that would be silly. Additionally, we do have a radar. I think we have the only radar. Yeah, anchorage. So that's a little potentially unbalanced. That might be a thing that is in our favour, but that really does depend on the anchorage. Although, actually, does the anchorage have radar? Or does the anchorage have smoke? I can't remember. I haven't played it enough. I honestly can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't have radar. Because I know there's one of those cruisers that has... I mean, the main thing I remember about the anchorage is that excellent camo scheme that it gets. It's one of my favourite ones in the game. It looks very nice in my port. You can tell I don't play it very often. Although that's not particularly because I don't like the ship, it's just at this point I just have so many ships. So you tend to come back over and over to the familiar ones like the Tirpitz. Well, you do see sometimes, and I guess it's much more noticeable when it's lower tier ships, but you get people that have thousands of battles in one ship. I don't even know how many it is for the Tirpitz, but it sure isn't thousands. It actually reminds me a bit of, in the latest podcast, the latest CC podcast, we didn't record one this week because ATAM's away, but the one we did last week, the Drakenfell, we were talking about the British battle cruisers, and of course one of the things they're testing on those is the waterline, below waterline torpedoes, which some of those at least have basically better than you would expect launch angles, because they're using essentially what in real life, you know, they used gyroscopes to get the torpedoes to face in, you know, to not just fire out the ship perpendicular, which would have extremely limited their use. And obviously it's something that sub-launched torpedoes used as well. But yeah, one of the things he said was, you know, we were testing, people don't expect you to have torpedoes, and it kind of reminded me of way back when I was playing this for the very first time, before it was even released, and absolutely nobody knew it had torpedoes. Battleship with torpedoes, that's a ridiculous idea. Who had ever heard of such a thing? And so, yeah, you could get away with just driving up to people and they would be like, oh, what's going on here? And then you would unleash the torpedoes and it was glorious. So yeah, but gosh, that feels like a really long time ago. It probably was a long time ago at this point. I mean, this was the first premium ship I ever did any kind of review of, and I really went all in. I mean, I played something like 50 battles or something before I even touched my video editing software. So yeah, probably a bit excessive at the point when I was still a CC. Partly that was also the fact that they tended to put out a lot more ships at once, and it gave you a lot less time with individual ships. It became more like, you know, you might do 6 or 8 battles at most, i.e. a couple of hours before you would do a video on the ship. But yeah, that's not really a comprehensive anything at that point. That's more just of a initial thoughts. Right, so the Akizuki there, the Tirpitz are on the other flank. Wasn't even paying attention to that. Too busy waffling. The Aki's torps can't hurt, of course, but it's got more of a limited potential. What are you doing, Martel? Okay. is where secondary spec would be nice. One of these days, maybe, when I've got the spare gold, I might respec Lutyens for battleships and secondaries, just to take advantage of that skill he has. But I have other things at the moment that would potentially require doubloons first. And I'm not that much in a position to just buy lots of doubloons at the moment. I'm not entirely sure what this Johan de Witt and Martel are doing in a pair of cruisers. Anyway, we're about to get this cap. The Tarigos do not seem particularly interested in caps or capping, which is good news for our destroyers. Mostly getting like that said pen, but that was an over pen from the damage. That slowed down again. I had a game the other day in God, what was it? I can't even remember. I think it was one of the tier. Was it like Bayern or I don't know, but I just had the most absurdly unlucky RNG. It's like one of those games you have in a battleship every so often where your shells just will not do what you want them. And I had so many shatters and ricochets and overpens that I barely ended. I had, you know, something like, you know, 28, 29, 30 shell hits and like 30k damage kind of thing. Which, yeah, if you're on a battleship and your number of shell hits correlates in thousands with the amount of damage you've done, you know your gunners are trolling you. So, yeah, that's kind of frustrating when you have that kind of match. And the bad RNG just seems to stack up on you. Right, well, one of the two egos is capping, and the other one is dead, so that's fine. I think we might be winning this one, to be honest. Although, let's not count our chickens yet. We do have something of a numbers advantage. At least get the front shells over there. Some of them. Now, that was a bit of a straddle. There's the Martel. Poltava, the Amagi's all the way on the other side, they're isolated. Poltava! I mean, if I give a broadside, okay, but Poltava's 14-inch guns are... they're not very scary. More worried about Martel's torpedoes. Right, this is not going to be a monster damage game. We are, yeah, we're kind of trouncing them fairly hard. But hey, weekends can kind of go either way, and there's not a lot you can do about it. But it's all XP towards the mission, so, you know. Oh, come on, RNG. Really? Well, as it turns out, I probably could have just charged straight through into the cap at the beginning, but hindsight is 20/20 and all that. Right, that's the Turigo in the cap. Yeah, we've just thrashed them far too hard. Oh well. At least a win comes with more XP than a loss. Oh, that was such a kill steal. Kill secure. It's kill secure. Yes. See if we get a chance to shoot at this Poltava. He's dodged the torpedoes. Killed the Miyoko. Pullman's got their own torps, of course. Let's try about there. Yeah, a little more lead. Yeah, there he goes. Oh well, 58k, that's not really anything to write home about. Barely took any damage. We've lost only 3 ships. Yeah, this was a bit one-sided. So there it is, another step closer to my goal. Halfway up the team, apparently. That enemy team was not much of a challenge at all. So, oh well, no monster damage or XP farm, but still over 1k base XP. I'll take it. So let's see where we are now on the dockyard missions. That bit closer. So I need still over 100k spotting. Still quite a lot of potential damage, which obviously playing battleships in theory ought to be helping a lot with. And we only need 10k more base XP. We've also finished one of the destroyed things, so 2 out of 6. So the grind continues. So hopefully you have enjoyed this bit of derpy weekend team play. If you have, you can do all the usual things down underneath the video, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.